for an original song.
Hey guys, welcome back to the letter. Let's hop on in. The mansion grounds has been of the first things to be fixed up, aside from the bedrooms. Although it's still a work in progress, it had a promising start, and I can already see the flower patches. Luke's favored daffodils stands out easily, having been transplanted from the pots that used to litter the rooftops of our penthouse. Why, if the moving crew thought that Luke was being hard on them, they clearly didn't see the landscaper on his way out. The man looked like he was ready to faint, and Luke seemed ready to kill him by the end of their discussion. It is in the gardens that I see him standing near the flowers in quiet admiration. He is hard to miss, the hulk of a man that clearly did not belong, and the big backpack and suitcase that he has with him makes him look much larger. It is a peculiar sight, seeing someone who looks like he does handling little delicate things with such care. He looks up from the gardens and does a double take before a friendly face replaces his serene expression.
Miss Wright, yeah? Hi, Zachary Steele here from Luxury Living, ma'am. Hope you weren't waiting too long. But it looks like you're still moving in, huh? Thought for a second there my calendar was wrong and I came here too early.
You look familiar. Have we met?
I have a very wide social circle, so everyone looks familiar at one point or another. But one would think I'd remember someone who stands out like him. The struggle to recall must have been evident on my face as he quickly and kindly answers my question.
Oh, I was with Isabella, your estate agent, when she had the house blessed.
Oh, yes, we remember that.
Oh, yes, that's right. Small world, isn't it?
We're gonna come up about what we said? No.
Should have known you were Miss Wright.
The one and only. Welcome to Maison de Right. And yes, we've been in the process of moving in as we were delayed, but it won't be a problem. They're just adding a few things here and there, and you should still be able to do your work. Where's the rest of your crew then, Mr. Steele?
Zach is fine, please. Mr. Steele makes me feel like I'm a mascot for a cleaning product. Anyway, I'll be your one-man crew for today. Don't worry, been doing this gig for a while now.
You must be quite the veteran to handle this on your own. We've had a full crew coming into our penthouse the last time we were covered in your magazine.
Veteran? Oh, your words are too kind, Miss Wright.
Hannah, if I get to call you Zach, you have my permission to call me Hannah.
Alrighty then. Anyway, I'm no veteran, but I know my camera well enough to make sure this is a good shoot. You can trust me on that, Miss Wright, Hannah.
Zachary proves quickly enough that I can, in fact, trust him, his skills with the camera and experience in this industry at the very least. He is kind and courteous, listening and following as I lead him around the house. A really nice fellow, and he treats our household staff well whenever we cross paths with them. I answer his questions to the best of my ability, and he is patient enough to answer mine whenever I get curious enough. For one, I ask what the bags are for. They are quite the magician's toolkit. From inside, he had procured several items to establish the interior with. Bowls of fruit, lemons, trays with pepper mills, stacks of cookbooks, cutting boards, and glass canisters filled with colorful nuts and grains are brought in the kitchens for the sitting. For the bathroom, there are white towels, seashells, and decorative soaps. There are other things as well, too numerous to count, all in that large backpack and suitcase.
Tricks of the trade. Softens up a room, makes a place feel more homey, and fills it up with texture. But you guys probably have better stuff I can use for this.
No lights. Don't tell me all of these are just props.
Well, I've got my tripod here. For things like these, natural light is best. I'll just have to set the shutter speed to a real slow setting, and as long as nobody steps into the shot, it'll look great.
Oh, it better.
We go through the rooms, one at a time, although we first tackle the ones that the movers have no business in anymore. The ballroom needs a little preparation. With its grand design, it is gorgeous. Although there is some trouble at first, with the wide open space and the picture being backlit. It is in the kitchen that Zachary's props come in handy, considering how Jonas kept the place so neat and sterile, one can practically eat off the floor. We carry on touring the house and taking pictures while we can, the exception to the rooms which have yet to gain any purpose or design. Too bad I can't take a sneak peek at his photos yet. Funnily enough, he is using a traditional camera. I didn't even know film still existed. Oh, he's a man after my own heart. With the way he speaks, however, I can see that he knows enough about his craft that I'm not too worried about botched photographs. I imagine photography must be cathartic for him, judging by how at ease he looks while taking pictures. There are small snippets of conversations in between the clicking of the camera. He even goes as far as to talk about these terminologies like shutter speed and aperture when I ask about the technical aspects. I can't quite see the picture as it is made, much like when I watch artists paint on their canvas. But just watching someone passionately practicing their craft, such as this, is exciting in its own way. Going through the many rooms has been quite the exercise for both of us. Despite that, he has been so nice, and I find myself putting on my best smile. But it is as we're taking pictures of the foyer that everything comes to a standstill for a moment. Just a moment. And had I not been paying attention, I would have never noticed. It is merely a split second when Zachary's rhythm is put to a halt. His finger doesn't move to release the shutter. Yet, he also doesn't pull the camera away from his face, gaze still firmly affixed through the viewfinder. That is actually a really cool picture. His hand shakes, and there is a slight sheen of sweat on his forehead.
Zachary?
No response.
Zach, is something the matter?
Lowering his camera, he blinks and stares at something behind me before shaking his head. Turning around through, I see nothing that could have gotten his attention.
Oh, no, there's nothing wrong. I just remembered something, that's all. Let's get back to the pictures.
Please don't let Zachary die. I love
Can you
him.
move a bit more to the left, yeah?
He is one of my favorite characters so far in this game. I struggle to respond this time. There's a sudden weight on my back and an indescribable tightness around my throat. Everything stops. And everything starts again as I manage to choke out.
If you're sure.
I don't know what just happened. It was probably just a dizzy spell. I'm fine. And he said he's fine. We continue at the same pace as before, although there is an unspoken agreement that we will not talk about what happened.
So, is this a full-time job for you then?
Nah, I just freelance mostly, for magazines, newspapers, and events. So you can't really call it a full-time job. It's fun and it puts food on the table, but it's not what I really want to do. At least, not all the time.
What is it that you want to do then?
Maybe I've been out of line sticking my nose into other people's business, but I can't help but ask. I regret doing so as I see his shoulders slump and an easygoing air he has fades away. He looks torn over whether he wants to talk about it or not.
Films. Documentaries mostly. But cinematography is a lot more difficult than photography, right? I was working on this thing, actually.
What thing?
Well, it wasn't really a big thing. People didn't like Blue Fonzie very much.
People don't like a film about colors. I suppose they would have liked Blue Bibby a lot more.
Very funny.
So, Grand Director, do you want to tell me what Blue Fonzie is all about?
He hesitates, but when I refuse to budge on the matter, he gives in and spills it all out. Blue Fonzie, le héros la plus sombre des noirs, forgive me. I want to say this is French, but I'm not very good in French. Bleu Foncé, le héros le plus sombre des noirs britannicus. Dark blue, the darkest hours of the Black British. He speaks with passion of one who has gone through the very matter he is concerned with. There is conviction, knowledge, and experience in his voice. Why, I would have told him that he's an amazing speaker if only I wasn't so engrossed in listening. Prejudice and discrimination in schools and in the workplace. Lesser chances for opportunity and higher chances for being treated like a criminal. He spoke of blacks and people of color in general still being treated like second-class citizens, all because of the color of their skin. It is all just positively riveting and sad. It comes to a point wherein he soon loses steam. He looks abashed, realizing that he has just done what he's
Sorry, I just got so carried away and...
It's fine. It is really so fascinating to watch people talk about their passion after all. You should see how your eyes light up when you speak so fiercely. You do have very beautiful eyes.
Uh-huh. Thanks, I guess.
Go for him. I want to say that I understood where he's coming from, but I really don't, do I? I was born with a silver spoon in my mouth, and I've lived a charmed life. It hasn't been perfect, but the difficulties I've been through pales in comparison to what others experience on a daily basis. I certainly don't know how I would have fared were it any different. Would I still have met Luke, and would he still have loved me if I were any lesser?
What was your home like? These things you talk about, it sounds like you've... Well, I don't mean to pry, I mean.
Live with my older sister and my grandparents. We had a shop selling all sorts of things below our flat. And well, I was one of the few non-white, non-British students in class. I didn't get pushed around or anything straight up. Even then, I was one of the biggest kids around. But a pencil and notebook would go missing, you know?
Oh, that I knew. Actually, I kind of know that feeling too. Not gonna talk about it though. Children can be so cruel at times. Of course, it may be a slightly different story when you have personal guards and the stolen item is not a pencil but an expensive heirloom.
So what about you? How you liking your new house? It's pretty impressive.
It's nice, I suppose.
You suppose? Not big enough?
What? No, oh, don't be a bully.
No bully, just don't.
It's just that.
I understand if you don't want to talk about it.
I was a little girl, all dolled up and treated like a fragile porcelain, with nursemaids waiting at me hand and foot. All the material possessions anyone could ever want, I could ask for on a whim, and it would be handed to me just like that. But I barely saw my parents, just goodbye kisses in the morning before they went off to who knows where they needed to be next. I saw them more often on the telly or in the papers than I ever did in person.
I remember my old house. It was a lot like this one. Big walls and big halls, but nobody in it. Not really. It makes you think how alone you are.
A pensive mood overcomes us, and there's a moment where neither of us are sure of how often to go on from here. Things have often got a bit too personal, yet it isn't wholly uncomfortable, like as if we've been friends before.
Well, that's normal, ain't it? You just moved here. You'll make home out of it yet.
He certainly makes it easy to believe that. My childhood house is indeed a lot like this one, just as large and extravagant, and just as empty. I hope he's right.
So, Monsieur le Photographe, you've covered the one and only Ermengarde mansion. What's next on the agenda?
The interview?
Boring. It's an interior design and housing magazine.
And they want to know what Miss Wright has to say about her interior design and house.
Honor Wright thinks she bought a magnificent house that she can certainly brag about. Blah, blah. Boring.
You know what? I think these two are actually kind of cute together.
You know what they should print more of? I watched an interesting documentary the other day. Bleu Foncé, The Darkest Hours of the Black British. I recommend you watch it. Those are the things that people should know about. What do they care if I use a purple or green bowl of fruit in my kitchen?
People, right?
Oui. People are shite. What do you think? Do I look good with this angle?
I strike a pose while he's being busy, looking taken aback for a moment, probably not expecting me to go and say such a crass word. But he recovers quickly, and after snapping a few photos, he grins.
Yeah, vous êtes belle. You want copies of these ones?
Yes, please. So, the big boy knows French.
I think he's been proving that for a while.
You must have wooed a few ladies. Unless you're into gents. Either way, French is, after all, the language of romance.
No, I don't know about quoting fancy poetry, but I've made lunch for a girl before, and they did like that fancy French cuisine.
Can you cook your best?
I can cook just about anything as long as I know the recipe.
C'est magnifique.
It has been too long since I've had a nice and proper chat with a good friend. No, Lee is certainly not a good friend. And although we've just met, Zachary is the sort who can probably befriend anyone. He's just a comfortable person to be around with. A bit too comfortable. The photo shoot went by a breeze. And somewhere along the way, as we talk and laugh, I find myself getting a bit too close without realizing. He'll give me this strange look until I back off, and he'll go back to asking questions after I agreed to do his little interview. And it's just odd. Well, no. Me being friendly isn't that odd. It's how I am. Zachary is the one that's being odd. Why, anyone else would absolutely welcome the extra attention I give them. He, on the other hand, looks almost flustered about it. Your husband called him the N-word. I don't think I can see why he acts like that. He should be used to a different personality by now, having to deal with various people when he works. And if not, he needs to start. Perhaps nobody has shown him attention of this kind, but he's a big boy, he should be able to handle me. All it is a friendly touch here, and a pretty smile there, and a gentle swaying of the hips as I move around. Zachary grew and grew more red every time he noticed. Am I being mean, as I find enjoyment in seeing him unravel? Perhaps. This went on during the interview and beyond that. There's nothing wrong with that, what we're doing, right? Zachary and I are just having a playful, friendly chat while enjoying the outside view. At least that's how I see it.
I'm sorry, but I'm really getting distracted. Could you maybe stop doing that?
Stop? Okay. No, let's stop.
I'll stop if it makes you uncomfortable, sweetie.
Sorry.
No, I should be the one apologizing.
You're gonna be good girls.
Why, you're a shy one, aren't you, big guy?
It's not that, but...
He gestures to the ring on my finger and lets the fact of the matter hang heavily between us. Being told implicitly that I am too forward is not a common occurrence. I think I'm more stunned at the fact that he pointed it out, rather than, well, being rejected. Not that anything is going to happen between us in the first place. It was just going to be some harmless flirting, right?
So, you've never had a girlfriend?
No. No boyfriend either. You know, just in case you were gonna ask for that one next.
And you haven't even had your first kiss?
Not a one, ma'am.
Do you want to have your first kiss today?
I can't help it. I really can't, and I'm going to apologize lots later. Surely, by the catty smile on my face, it's obvious that I'm just pulling at his leg. The laugh I failed to contain certainly gives it away, if it still isn't obvious. But still, he lights up in embarrassment, stammering and sputtering objections.
You're married, and this will be extremely unprofessional.
I never said I would kiss you, silly. Oh, Johans!
No, what? No. Don't call your butler. She's Hannah.
That would be for the better. I don't think his husband would appreciate it if I made him kiss another man.
Oh my god, I knew it, and I love it so much more.
I do not think you can hear us from here either. But it is hard to think you're not taken, Zachary. Why, whoever becomes your girlfriend will be so lucky to have you. You can cook and take wonderful photographs. Wonderful meals and wonderful memories.
I can play guitar too.
You can? Oh my, wonderful serenades as well then. Perhaps I can find a young lady who deserves a fine, strapping young gentleman like yourself.
Let's not get carried away. Besides, I gotta be going. It's getting late and I got someplace else to be.
A shame. I will be expecting you again soon, I hope. For a copy of my photographs, yes?
Course, I'll even deliver them personally. Just, don't try to make me kiss your butler when I drop by.
As fate would have it, the very moment the words leave his mouth, Johannes comes out of the house. Judging by the slight raise of his brows, he has heard only the tail end of the sentence.
There shall be no kissing of any butlers under this roof. Danke.
But you are not under a roof, are you, Hansi?
To my amusement, he takes a step back, safely placing him within the threshold of the foyer and under the roof of the house. And just as ever, he is quick to return with a sardonic reply.
I am now. As I was saying, madam, it's about time for supper. Will I be needing to set an extra place at the table?
Oh, what? No, I was just leaving, actually. So, you have a good night, Hannah. And you too, Hansi.
It was nice to meet you, Zach, honey. You have a safe trip.
They should become friends. He nods and with the grin on his face as we say our goodbyes is the sweetest that I've ever seen. I linger looking out for him with his relatively tiny bicycle, backpack safely secured in the back seat by the front and the suitcase hooked on the back. I watch as he went down the path back to Anslem village until he is nothing more than a blip in the horizon. I cannot help the small smile on my face as I go inside for supper. Entering the dining hall causes me so much confusion. It is dark. For a moment, I thought the electric work is not up to par. But that clearly is not the case, as every other room is bright with artificial light. Finding the light switch is a monumental task, considering the size and how my unfamiliarity with the room. To make matters worse, the darkness grants the room a different atmosphere, eerie and frightening. It takes longer than I thought to find the switch, something that will have to be rectified later on. My skin starts to prickle, and there is a distinct feeling of being watched. It unsettles me, and only spurs me on in my search. And when I do open the lights, there's a hiss.
I'll turn the lights down, woman!
What is he drinking? There, it's probably, I know what that is. There at the end of the hall is my beloved husband with his face in one hand and a glass in the other. Perhaps I can let it go if it's only one glass of wine. However, I can feel myself go livid after seeing the toxic green liquid gleam mockingly at me.
Luke, what? Are you drinking absinthe?
Woo, that's what I thought it was.
You know what the doctor said. Absinthe, Luke.
Oh, look at her face.
Are you actively trying to kill yourself? Because if you are, we can just hit you with a bloody car.
Honeybee, Buttercup, not too loud, please. Besides, it's Lelouch, not too strong. Just hair of the dog that bit me. Helps with the hangover, dearest.
You drank? When?
This morning, love. Don't be mad. I just needed a few drinks, having to deal with those simpletons. And maybe I had one too much. You don't see me whinging about you leaving me to handle them on my own.
I had to attend the photo shoot and interview with Luxury Living. You know that. Let's not make this about me, Luke. This is about you and your drinking problem and...
Oh, I don't know, Hannah, darling. What if my drinking problem, as you like to call it, is linked to you?
Well, this guy would get divorced real freaking quickly if he talked to me like that.
If we think about it that way, this discussion is about you.
Okay, so I've always heard this, and I want your guys' thoughts on this. I've always heard that when someone's drunk, their true feelings come out. What do you guys think of that? Because if it is, this man needs to get...
leaving me alone to do all the work like that.
He needs to get his butt kicked.
You can't use the interview as an excuse either, honey. I was informed the moment your little interview was done. So, what was it then, What were you doing?
I was tending to the gardens. I was with Zachary.
I was talking with Zachary, the photographer for Luxury Living.
I have no reason to tell lies. It's not like I am guilty of anything. But as Luke's expression turns, he makes me feel like I actually am to blame for something. He has a way of making me laid bare with just a look. That had really struck me when we first met years ago.
That giant Negro?
Oh, good! Hi, YouTube!
You were having a secret meeting behind my back and it was with him?
Please don't go that far and say the, You know what? I should have beeped that
What are you implying?
I'm implying nothing. I'm just worried. You know better than to trust those media types, Buttercup.
I'm so glad he said media types. I was waiting for something
He
else.
must have been really friendly to occupy your time like that. But all he's looking for is his next big headline.
He's a photographer for an interior design magazine.
Doesn't matter. You let one little thing slip, one wrong move, and it'll blow up in the telly in the morning.
You're the one that called him the N-word. And no, I'm not going to say it as much as I could because I know what's going to happen. You are the one that would have screwed us over if that was a journalist.
He'll go to his journalist friends to gossip and make a quick quid.
You're the one that called him a nigga. I said nigga, by the way. Again, I'm not white. His eyes were the first thing I noticed about him. They were like nature, the grass and trees, wonderful and breathtaking. Now, as I look at him, they're nothing but the same shade of green as the bloody damn drink in his hand.
He was a perfect gentleman, Luke. I can't say the same for you as of recent.
Excuse me again? We're talking about you, Hannah.
No, okay, it's time we stop doing this and we talk about you, buddy. You have an issue and you're not willing to admit it.
No, I am pretty sure we were talking about you and your drinking problem, Luke, right?
Hangover forgotten during the course of this little spat. The man jumps to his feet and sees. It looks like he's barely stopping himself from throwing the nearest thing he can find.
Oh, it is not a problem. I can stop whenever I want. And even if it was, I think you can very well stay out of it, as it only affects my own kidneys or liver or whatever the bloody hell that shite pollutes. Whatever aftermath that occurs because of your little chit-chat with the Negro affects the both of us, however.
Look, Luke, nothing will happen. You have to relax. It was just a friendly chat.
Well, now I think I'm getting jealous.
Divorce him.
Or I would be if it weren't for this damn headache.
Maybe you should drink more.
Maybe.
Supper is spent in silence with nothing but the occasional sound of silverware. A grand feast has been served, well, grander than usual anyway, most likely due to Luke's complaints of stress. A platter of native oysters for starters, and trench of turbot with purple sprouting, broccoli, lemon, capers, and anchovy sauce for mains. Actually, that looks good, but I'm wondering what turbot is. To finish it all off, black tea and golden syrup sponge pudding with custard. But when our appetites are appeased, and the plates are cleared away, Luke stands, kisses me goodnight, and leaves me to stare at my half-empty cup. Lonely in the lull of the night, I sit in a house too big and too empty, foreign and unwelcoming. Even with its warm tone and homely decor, it feels cold. There's no need for tears, however. I know I can get through this like every other obstacle I've ever faced before. There's a minor setback in what I hope will be a long and happy life. To remind myself that this place is for Luke and for our future children fills me with a renewed vigor. Besides, it looks like someone is having a cry already. The wailing is far away and muffled. Yet, at the same time, it shakes me to my very core as I hear it, as if the suffering is just standing right beside me. Hearing it sends a chill down my spine and makes my skin prickle with goosebumps. Who is that? Curiosity sinks in as I follow the sorrowful sounds into the kitchen and into the wine cellar hatch.
Hello? Is anybody down there?
I am curious and concerned, but there is no way I'm going down into a dark and humid underground. I'm not as enthusiastic as Luke, who considers himself quite the connoisseur. However, I also cannot bring myself to go to bed with this racket going on. If it is one of the household help, they will surely need some talking. After all, this wouldn't be the first time I've gone and found one of the maids sobbing their eyes out over one thing or another. As professional as our staff are, they are still human. More often than not, it was either Johannes or I who'd calm them down, who'd help them figure out how to go on about things. Unfortunately, I'm not in high spirits right now, so I'm not as wholly benevolent. Let's try calling out to them. I knock 3 times. Waiting for any sort of reply yields me no result, and I've already touched the floor hatch far too many times than I'd like. I take a deep breath, and before reaching out again to whoever's inside, I've learned from experience that people respond better to kindness than threats. Shouting angrily would not help in coaxing them. Why can't I say that word?
You, in the cellar, do come out. We don't want Luke waking up and finding you in there, do we? That man would go ballistic thinking someone was trying to steal his precious wine.
Still nothing.
You can have a good cry. Just not in there, yes? Why don't you come out here and we can have a cuppa and you can tell me all about whatever it is you're bawling about?
She does seem like she cares. With how long I am standing here, however, I am starting to think myself as a fool. I did not want to acknowledge the other feelings I have, especially as the wailing took an eerie turn. The thought of being played with didn't sit too well with me, and I had to stop myself from getting too hot-headed as I try one more time.
Now you come out of there! That is an order from the lady of the house, do you hear me? Why, I ought to...
I freeze as a hand cramps down on my shoulder. The dread I've been feeling all this time itself makes itself known as I kneel unmoving, not even daring to breathe. I can feel my heart pounding against my chest, but the touch is gone as quickly as I had seized it. It is only Johann I see when I look back.
Apologies, madam, for touching you like that. You were not responding to my voice, and you looked about ready to wake the whole mansion up.
I'm sorry. I was getting rather loud, wasn't I? But that crying woman in there, we must do something about her.
He grows silent for a moment and looks concerned. At least, I'd like to interpret it as concerned, given how stoic our head butler usually is. Or rather, it must have been concern as he takes off a glove and presses the back of his hand to my forehead before his worrisome inquiry.
I beg your pardon. What? Crying woman? Are you feeling well, madam?
In the cellar. Can't you hear her?
Madam Hannah, no one is down there.
What?
The cellar is locked. Only Luke and I have duplicates of the keys. Nobody is down there.
I stare at him in disbelief. But when I listen once more, I hear no more crying. Tugging at the hatch for a good measure to prove his words to be true, too. That thing won't budge unless I had a key, short of using the power tools on it.
Perhaps it is time for you to go to bed, madam. You are simply tired and hearing things, a perfectly normal human experience. But if you are still experiencing auditory hallucinations in the morning, you are free to consult with me.
There's a cold feeling in the pit of my stomach as he helps me up to my feet. What he says makes sense, and who am I to question someone who used to be a doctor? I'm just tired, that's it. Long day of moving, the interview dealing with Luke, has all drained me of any proper sense.
Yes, I suppose you're right. I just need some sleep, that's all.
Of course I'm right. Go on then. Gute Nacht.
Good night, Johannes. Good night, house.
It's just fatigue. That's what I keep telling myself, although I can't ignore the strange feeling in my gut. Either there is something wrong with this house, or there is something wrong with my head. have ghost hands back there. Sleep well. Sleep will be elusive tonight. Alright guys, we'll check this out next time. I hope you guys are liking the longer and longer episodes. I'm trying to get back to an hour-long episodes of each of my videos. I hope you guys enjoy that. And I'll see you guys next time for more of The Letter. Give some love, spread the word, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.
This is a no-go, I just can't take hold. This is a danger zone, back up and get me home. This is a no-go, I just can't take hold. This is a danger zone, back up and get me. So put your hand in mine, follow me, let me waste your time. Set up feet, do some stupid shit. Take a seat, let me waste your time. So put your